Hi everyone, welcome to this new video. So in this video, we're going to understand how we can able to create a microservices, and also we'll be creating two microservices which communicate each other with the help of microservice architecture. All right, so let's get started. The first thing, I'll give a little bit brief on what we are going to do. So we are going to do two different microservices. The first microservices is the name is greet service, which says welcome for a user, and also another service name is user service. So we're gonna create two different service. First one is greet service, second one is user service. All right, so let's get started. The first thing, as I said, we need to create services, right? So first microservices. So let's create a first microservice, which I said is greet microservice. All right. So to do that, I hope you guys already opened your IDE. So right now for the IDE, I'm using Eclipse IDE. So if you are comfortable, you can use IntelliJ IDE as well. All right. So I am a little bit comfortable with IntelliJ. Eclipse. I just started using IntelliJ in new project in the office. But yes, so here I'm using Eclipse IDE. So to create a service or to create a Spring Boot application, what we'll be doing is, so let's go to the browser over here. All right. So here browser, the first thing what you have to do is you need to search for Spring Initializer. All right. Spring Initializer. Okay. So in the Spring Initializer, we are going to create, this is the first link. Just click on the first link over here. Okay, so this is the page you'll get land into over here. So here you can select, yeah, obviously we are making a Spring Boot application, so that is in Java and Maven project. So you can choose the version over here. By default, it is set for 3.3.5, and here let's give some details over here. The group I am gonna make as group.greet service, right? Group com.greet.service, and demo let me give as greet service, the name as well. And here instead of com.greet.service, I'm going to just keep it as com.greet service. All right, so just only this much. All right, so this is the name convention I have given over here. I hope you guys added this. The next thing, you can give packaging either jar or war. So I'm going to choose war over here. By default it is 17, so let's choose 17, which is completely optional. All right, so the dependencies which we'll be adding is actually one dependency is required, is enough for now, which is Spring Web. Okay, so let me add the Spring Web. And one more thing, so I'm going to add one more dependency over here, which is called dev tools. All right, so that's because when we save the project, it gets live reload. It helps for very comfortable for the development purpose. So for that reason, I'm going to add developer tools as well, so this dependency as well. All right, okay, so everything is done. So Spring initializer part is done. So let's click on generate. Right, so when you click on generate, it is going to create a new zip file. So I'm going to save the zip file over here. Right, let's see, let me put it in the desktop. Do it very easy. All right, so our first service is done. So let me go to that folder. A zip file will be generated and which will be downloaded as well. So now what we are going to do is, let me go to the desktop over here. Here is our zip file which got generated from the Spring initializer. So what we do is we extract this first. So extract files and extract it. Done. So now that extract is done, now it's very simple. Go to your Eclipse ID. So click a right button, or you can go for the file as well. Open project in the file system. All right. So directory, I'll go to the folder where this has been saved. So here it's been saved in here, greet service. So this is the project we just generated from the Spring initializer. So let's click on select folder and finish. So here it's there already. If you see, there are less files over here and files are less, only one folder. So at the top bottom right side, so maybe my face is occupying over there, but the small word is visible, which is update Maven. It's loading. It will take some time to generate files. So After it, the dependency gets downloads, it looks something like this. See, there are now many folders and extra files out there, right? So here, this is done. So the first thing what we'll do is we'll start the application. Okay, so before that, expand source main Java, and these are main function create service application.java. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add one print statement over here. Let's say sysout system.out.println, and I'm going to mention as application started for our understanding purpose, right? All right, so whenever we see this, which means our application got started. All right, so what we have to do, just select this main main function file, which is the main file. So click on right button. Oh, what that, it got stuck. Oh, it's loading. So just a second. Okay, so right button and go for run as Java application. All right, so here my application is getting started over here. Now the application is getting started. So at the last we can see application started, which means your application just started without any issues. All right, the first thing what we are going to do is we'll create one controller. Whenever we call that API, it says it should give a name, or it should greet a name. All right, so now what I'm going to do, we'll create one package which is we need to follow as per the Spring Boot architecture. We need to follow the naming convention, which is form.greet service. So right button source main Java new and package. So here we're going to create form.greet service dot controller. So I'm going to create a controller over here. All right, so here the controller package has been created. So now let's create a controller inside this a Java file. So select the package new and class. So here, let's say greet controller or greeting controller, GRET, greeting controller, or you can name any name you want. So this is just a Java file. So now first thing, we just created a Java file, right? How a Spring Boot is going to understand, or how our Spring Boot application is going to understand that this is the controller, right? They won't understand. So for that we need to make, or we need to add a beauty for this controller, that saying for this controller that you are the controller. So for that we're going to use rest controller annotation. All right, like this. So here, with this annotation, we are saying to this Java file that you are the controller. All right, so yes. So now first thing, I'll create one simple method, okay, or simple API. Let's say public, which returns a string. So it says greet. Um, as of now, I won't give any parameter. I'll show you. So first, let's test this API. So let's say return uh, hello. First, we'll test this. Then I'll add some masala into it. All right. Okay. So at I want to make it as get mapping. Get mapping. The API name which I'm going to give is greet. All right. So greet. So this is a sim. See, whenever, let's say I'll give a space over here and save the file. Here in the console it's reloading. Okay, this is why I have added one more dependency called dev dependencies. Okay, so bring it down. So here is our API got created already. So now what I'm going to do, so this is the API application already started. And one more thing I'll show you over here, whether you know or not. So here I'll drag it down. By default your Spring Boot application will be running at the port number 8080, and also you can change the port number as well. So that we'll see in when we'll create the one more service called user service. So I'll go to the browser. Okay, localhost, oops, localhost 80 localhost colon 8080 slash greet. So when I click on enter, this is what the statement, or this is what it's returning in the browser, which is hello. So that was the string we were returning there, right? Correct. So I hope you understand how we created this API. So here you can able to see hello. All right, so now let's add few things. Okay, So what I'll be doing is, see, whenever we pass a name from the user service, let's say user name login as Doraemon, or let's say Tony Stark. If the Tony Stark is using the user service API, so when his name is there over there, I mean, from in the user service, if the name is getting used means, so when they use this greet, or when this greet API is called, we need to display the username as well, saying hello Tony Stark, welcome, or hello Doraemon, welcome, something like that. All right. For that, what I'll be doing is I'm gonna add a parameter saying request param request param. It is called request parameter. So this will be, oh, okay. I'll explain this a little bit more. So if you are new to Spring Boot means, so request parameter, and we'll be taking the name, right? So let's say string name. All right. So and I'll give a message over here. Let's say hello, and name says I'm gonna say as welcome. Welcome to the microservices microservices world. Okay, like this. All right. So this is the service. So now one more thing I'll show you. If I run just a grid, okay, now we'll get this error, white label error. The reason because it is taking some extra parameter as well. So that's the reason. All right. So I'll explain a little bit more on request parameter in a while. All right. So now we have the API ready for grid service. So now we are going to use this API in user service. So how are we going to communicate with that? So for that, we need to create a one more Spring Boot application. All right. So here we have one Spring Boot application which is running in the port number. What's the port number? 8080, right? So the port number of grid services are running in 8080. We're going to create one more services, or one more microservice, or one more Spring Boot application which is going to run in a different port number. So that will communicate with these two. All right. So for that, what we'll be doing is we'll go to the browser over here, Spring Initializer again. We need to create a new project. So let me refresh this first. All right, I am creating a new project again. All right. So Java Maven 3.2.5 version. This time I'm going to give as user service is the name I'm giving for the application. Okay, for the new Spring Boot application, which is user service. All right. So user service, I'll give the name convention as form dot user service. Okay, very simple, and I'll keep it var 17, and we'll add the dependencies is Spring Web, and the second one which we'll be adding is Spring Dev Tools. So Dev Tools, you know why I'm adding this, so to make our development here, right? Good. So now let's click on generate, and let me save this user service. A zip file has been downloaded over here. Let me go to the zip file over here, then we'll extract this. So extract files, click on OK. All right. So here we have our user service folder has been created. So now very simple. Let's go to our Eclipse ID. Let's import that project. For as of now, I'll just minimize this because there are a lot of projects in my package explorer, or in the project or in the Eclipse. So the first method I showed in using file import, right? So I'll be showing the second method over here. Import uh, existing man projects, next, and browse. Here we're going to select the user service which we just created like this, and click on select folder. All right, so click on finish. So this will take couple of seconds. So here is our user service which just got created. See, oh yeah, it got generated. Cool, very took very less time. All right, so now let's continue with this. Okay, so now what we'll be doing is, there is something. See, if we want to communicate two Spring Boot application, or okay, one Spring Boot application is one service, another microservice. We want these two services to communicate each other. So what we'll be doing is, there is something called, we need to write the configuration for this. All right. we need to write the configuration. So what is this configuration and how we need to write it? So let's write it. Okay. So before that, okay, this is still running. I'm not stopping the application. It's keep on running the greet service. So what I'm doing is, first let's create a new controller for user service first. Okay. So then we'll come back to the configuration part. Don't get confused. We are creating controller, then we'll come to the configuration part. Okay. Don't get confused. Right. So obviously, first thing we'll create a new package for the controller separate, and for the configuration separate packages we'll create. So com dot user service dot controller. This is our first package, and I'm going to create a one more package for the configuration. I'll keep it ready. First, I'll concentrate on the controller. So com dot user service dot uh, let's say config. Okay, this is the name I'm giving, config. All right. So we have created two new packages, one for the configuration and one for the controller. All right. Cool. Before that, hydration is important. All right. Chalo. So here two packages has been created. One is config and one is controller. So now what I'm going to do is, first I'll go to the main function over here, user service application.java, and I'm gonna say a printout statement for our convenience, so that whether the application is started or not for our understanding purpose. So I'm gonna give a print statement saying uh, user service application started. Okay, this is the line which I'm giving. So I'm going to save this and let's run our user service application first. But it will throw an error. The reason because uh, the greet service is already running the port number 8080, and by default the Spring Boot application runs in the port number 8080. Correct? So what we need to do? I said right, we can able to change the port number. So let's change the port number. So to change the port number, what we should do is we need to go for source main Java resources and application properties. So here the mic is getting down and down. All right, cool. So here we need to write uh what we need to write. Any guesses? Any guess what we have to write over here? We need to write something called application.port. So sorry, server.port. Server.port is equal to, so there the port number is 8080. Here I'm gonna give as 8081. So port number is completely different, 8080 and 8081. All right. So when I start our user service application, it is going to start at the port number 8081. So let's check. All right. So select the user service application main file and run as on Java application. All right. So it is getting started. So let's wait for this to get complete. Loading, starting. Okay, so it says user service application has been started. So if I slide it this way, it says Tomcat started on the port number 8081. So what is Tomcat? Obviously Tom is a cat, but Tomcat is a server name. All right, good. So Tomcat started on port number, or the server started at the port number 8081. All right. So first, to test this, we'll create one simple control over here. Okay. So all right. So in the controller, just for the testing purpose, the new class and control name I'm going to give as user controller finish. Obviously we just created a simple Java file, but we need to make sure that this is the controller. Spring Boot application need to understand this, that this is the controller. So what we are going to do, we are going to make as rest controller. All right. All right, so here is done. So let's create one simple API quickly. So public string, let's say get user greeting. Okay. So whenever user logs in, if we use this particular API, it's going to give user greeting. So just make it simple. Return test user greet API. Okay, just for testing purpose quickly. So I'm gonna name this as, let's say, get mapping and here this is going to be let's say user greet. All right, so this is the API. So now what I'll do, let's go to our browser. Okay, localhost, instead of greet here I'm going to paste it user greet. So if I click on enter, oh, okay, the port number is changed, right? The port number has to be 8081, so it's going to be 8081. Enter. Yes, user greet API is working, right? So now let's continue with this. So I hope till now you guys are enjoying how I'm doing. So if you like this video, please do like it and subscribe it if you're new to our channel. Help us to grow learning mighty. All right, cool. So now, oh no, 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 no. All right. So now we need to write the configuration first. Very important. Concentrate here. Configuration. This is the config package which we have created earlier. Click a right button, go for new, and go for class. So here we are going to create the app config. Okay. So let's say the file name I'm giving as app config itself. Okay. See, this is just a Java file. We need to make our Spring Boot application to understand that this is the configuration file. So to do that, obviously we're gonna use an annotation called configuration. Configuration. All right. So let's import that. So here we have added configuration annotation. All right. The first thing, let's write a configuration quickly. So let me type in public, and since we are using REST API, so REST template, and the method name. This method is going to return the REST template. Okay, RESTful service. So this is the method which I am giving REST template, and here I'm going to return return new. Let's say uh, REST template. Okay, REST template. All right, like this, done. And we need to annotate this as a bean. Okay, done. So here this is our simple configuration. Okay, so now you need to understand what this configuration which we have written over here, right? So what is the configuration? What is this? So let's understand. Let me explain this. So basically the REST template, so REST template or the configuration, the REST template configuration. So this configuration REST template helps us to allow the HTML communications between the services. The REST template allows us to uh, allows us for the sorry, no, I said HTML, I made a mistake. Yeah, HTTP communication between the services. So because of the REST template, we can able to make a HTTP communication between the services, right? So yes, so now everything is done. So now what we're going to do, we'll go for the user controller.java. Okay, so here we'll write the or we'll use the microservices from the greet service. All right, so you know that what is the service API, what was the endpoint of that, right? It was localhost colon 8080 slash greet. That was the API name, correct? So now let's bring that. So string, let's say greet greet URL. It's the URL, and I'll copy that URL from the browser itself, because not to make mistakes, I mean, we need to have that HTTP everything, right? So that's the reason. Okay, come back here, localhost 8080, and the API name was greet, right? So greet, let's take that greet over here. Okay, greet, and obviously here in the greeting control we have give a request parameter, right? So from the user services, when we pass the parameter as a name, then only this is going to accept it. So now for that reason we're going to pass it like this, name. So because this is the variable, or this is the variable which we have given over here, name. You can change it if you want. So name, let's say is equal to plus name. So now I'll give a semicolon. So now we are getting a name error. The reason, because see, this is expecting a request parameter to send, and also when we are using this API, we need to send a name as well in the request parameter, correct? Same. So at request parameter, we're gonna send a name which is of type string, obviously. So now this name is sent to here. Let's say here we are sending as Tony, and Tony name comes over here. So for the greet URL, we are passing the parameter with the question mark, name, name. Okay, in place of name we're going to send as Tony. Wait, I'll explain you a little bit on request parameter. Okay, let me go to the browser. Let me go to the Google. Okay, google.com. All right, google.co.in. All right, so let's say I want to search a car. If you are my old subscribers, you might be knowing I had explained this many times. So let's say car. So now you guys observe the URL. I'm going to take this URL and let me paste it. Okay, let it be. So okay, here, whether I'm not sure whether you guys can able to see it or not. Over here I can't even make it zoom it as well. Okay, no problem. So here these are whatever you are seeing over here. These are all for the security purpose. So that part I'm removing, and I'll click on enter. Normal. I'll click on enter. Still it works. Still it's the same. Okay. So now I'll bring this URL. I guess I need a text. I need a notepad for explaining this properly. So I'm going to pasting this here, the same URL which I just copied. Let me zoom it. If you see, this is the URL. Okay, Google URL, which is www.google.co.in. Just like, okay, let me bring ours. This is ours, right? This is ours. Okay, just like Google, we have our localhost 8081, right? Instead of search, we are giving user greet, and same way we are passing a name is equal to Tony. Getting, they are making as, or they are given a variable name as q, and here I'm giving a variable name as name. Rest everything is same. So they are giving car, I'm passing a Tony. So when the car value is passed for the Google, it will search for the car. Okay, when we are saying we want a grid, that was the operation which we need to perform, right? So let me go to the Eclipse, and not Eclipse, I want to show in the browser again. So see, this is the URL, right? Instead of car, I'll make it as bike. I'm just changing the value. I'm just changing the value. Okay. Oh, sorry. The bike I typed as bike. Okay. See, I typed as, okay. Again, I made a spelling mistake here. All right. So I searched as bike. So now whatever you can see all the bike information over here. If I make it as bus, just instead of the value, q is equal to bus, q is equal to bike, q is equal to uh, car. So now we are getting information about the bus, right? So same, this is how it is. See, Google has written operation or the service naming. Whenever you pass a value for this queue, you need to search related to this car. But what we are doing, when we are sending a name, we need a greet. Hi, uh, hello, welcome to hi, hello Tony, welcome to the Microservices board. So this is what we are doing, right? So let's come back here. So our URL is done. Okay, so this is our greet service URL, name and name. So all this value is sent and saved in this greet URL string variable. Got it? Clear? Okay. So now the important part, the REST template. We need to use the REST template configuration which you have written. So I'm going to give it as string string, let's say greeting, string greeting is equal to, so rest. Oh yeah, before that we need to create an object. We need to create an object of rest parameter. Okay, so rest template. So from the rest template, let me keep it private. The access modifier as private. Rest template, rest template, and let's import our rest template. And I'm gonna make this as auto wire, auto wire. All right, cool. Now from the rest template dot get for object, get for object. So here we need to pass two parameters. First one, the URL. Second one, what type of data we need to see. You can mention any type of data. You can create your own model, entity, or you can return what you want. So now we are just returning a string, right? So I'll pass the greet URL, and we need this in a string type. So for that's why it's gonna be string dot class. And the same is greeting string will be returning over here. Okay, so this one line which helps us to connect our this microservice user service to, for which one, for greet service. So now let me explain this again. Okay, so let's say the first line, string greet URL, this URL plus name. So the variable that stores the URL as a string over here. Okay, there's a variable which stores the URL as a string, and this part creates the full URL that our service will call. Here's how it works. Okay, so this name we saved over here, the entire thing will be saved as a URL. All right, now the second line, string greeting rest template get for object. So get for object in the sense, so get for object, I just explained about rest template. Rest template is a helper class to make HTTP request, or which helps us to HTTP connection between the two services or between the services. So it's a rest template is a helper class for the to make HTTP request. Okay, so get for object, basically get for object is a method that sends an HTTP get request to the specified URL. So for the specified URL, so here this is a URL which we are giving over here. For this particular URL, we'll be sending a HTTP get request. All right, we'll be sending a get for object. So we'll be sending a get HTTP request to this particular URL or the specified URL, whatever we will be giving for our application purpose, and expect a response. So we are expecting a response. Got it? So what kind of response we are expecting? We are expecting a string type. So this tells rest template to accept a response as a string. So give a response in a form of string. Got it? So this is what it is, and then we are returning this greeting variable. All right. So now this application has been already started. Now let's go to the browser. Here, user greet. We need to pass a value. So name is equal to, let's say I'm going to give as Tony. Enter. So now it says hello. See, observe the URL over here. URL is localhost 8081. User get name is equal to Tony. But what this message, welcome to the microservices word, is there in greet controller. And greet controller, see, you are hello, welcome to the microservice word. So the port number of this application is 8080, but we are accessing this microservices with, or this microservice with 8081 port number application, which is user service. So we are passing a name. That name will pass to our greet microservice with the rest template HTTP communication or HTTP request. So then we are able to get the welcome or greet message from the greet service. Okay, user service is calling, greet service is giving a response in the form of Springboard here. Got it? So this is how we can able to create the services and also communicate between the services. All right. So this is a simple example. I hope you got an idea with this. And if you are new to our channel, please subscribe it. And one thing to apologize is the videos or this video is seeing for very late, and in the channel the videos are getting late, but it's not going to happen again. Please let me know what if you have any confusion, or if you want to if you want me to make a videos on particular concept on Java, Spring Boot, or any other technology. We have a team, so I'll make my team to make a tutorial and explain that to you guys. So just let me know in the comment section what you want to learn. So just let me know and I'll make that happen. All right. So if you are new to our channel, the Learning Mighty, please do subscribe it. And if you learned something in this video, creating microservices and the communication between the microservices, please do like the video as well. And please share this channel to all your students, friends, colleagues, office colleagues wants to learn new. All right. So let's meet in our next video. Until then, take care. Goodbye. Bye.